What's going on, guys? Buenas tardes. Sean Murphy here with The Relocationist, where we help people relocate to Mexico. Today's video is kind of cool, a little different, a special edition where I'm outside the walls right now of a Waldorf school, and we're going to go inside and show you guys the grounds. We're also going to have a little chat with a lady named Aline, who's the kindergarten coordinator. And just to kind of give parents who may be looking to come here to get an insight to what the education system is like and maybe alternative methods for their children than the typical curriculum and system. So yeah, let's go inside. Thanks for doing this with me today.
Thank you, Sean.
I'm
it's
sweating.
My pleasure.
Yeah. I'm sweating here right now. We were just doing a little tour around. So yeah, I'm really grateful that you could do this with us today and just answer a few questions to help better understand, what kind of school opportunities there are for kids, or just alternative education opportunities for kids who may be moving here from foreign countries and have no idea where to even start or begin or where to look, And this can maybe give a little insight to those parents that are like, hey, these are options for my kids. So
right.
Cool. I know what questions that we receive is, what is Waldorf? Like, what is that name? What does it represent? Because they're just like used to a typical public school.
Right.
So maybe you can kind of explain what the method or the Waldorf method means to you guys.
Well, I would start by saying that the basic difference that we can provide parents that are starting to search for this kind of education is that all the pedagogy is based on the study of men, which was delivered by Rudolf Steiner, who is the founder of the education. And based on the study of the stages of development of childhood, that's how we create the curricula for the kids. It's based on them and the observation we give to each child, how we create the content, the activities, and basically all the data that we provide them. It's not the way around, right? Because sometimes in normal schools, I won't say normal, but other schools, they establish first the curricula and they provide it to everyone, right? So here is a little bit different. The teachers need first to start studying actually the stages of development of the man, and then that's how we created the curricula. Now, another very different thing that we do here is that we consider the community as a very important part of the school because we share the education with the parents. We are not teachers and parents during the day and during afternoons, but we get together to unify our thoughts and make coherence out of education that we are providing here and at home. So we are a team, actually, that we really give this comfort to the child altogether, right. Not only academically, but also emotionally and socially as well.
Okay.
It's a very important part for us. We always say we do not receive kids, but we receive families, because it's a compromise that they do when they enter here, that they will be fully aware of that all the development that will be required from them, and the growth that will be required from them, because that's how we are going to be the best version for our kids.
Very good, cool, okay. Yeah, I see some of our friends that have their kids in this school. When we talk to them, I was over at the school today, the parents, I was building this for the child or this, or they're painting something, like they're always involved in helping. So
right.
For sure, I see that even in our own community kind of thing. Is there some sort of requirements or something that the child has to have before they can enter this school, or language or academic wise, or no?
Well, it depends on every family and child, of course. We do have an enrollment procedure, of course. First of all, we let them come to us and we make an interview with them to tell them like a very real image of what we are. So there are no surprises, right?
Yeah.
Because as we do things differently, we want them to actually know what we are doing so they can decide if this is what they are looking for, right? We interview the family, and then we start this process of knowing the kid. So they come in and have a week of, let's see, like a trial week.
Yep.
So we can observe the kid. How is his development? How is he doing? Of course, academically, but more socially and spiritually.
Yeah.
And as well, that's for elementary school. Now for kindergarten, it's a little bit different because we do not provide any academics in kindergarten. This is one of the other differences for Waldorf schools, that up to 7 years old, the kids, the only thing that they can do here is move, right? We based our curriculum in kindergarten based on these 4 senses that we called, which are movement, balance, vital sense, and touch. So, and it's
all
a
you
very
focus on,
exactly.
those things.
And we provide these opportunities in a very home-like environment because we want them to feel secure. So they put all the energy in what the body is doing, which is building the physical body. They need energy for that, and they need connections for that, and that's how, based on movement, how they do it. These brain connections and everything is based, or they are built upon movement. Okay. So we need to provide them the opportunity to do that.
For sure.
So if we sit them, or if we give them academics before they are ready to do it, they will use those forces into that, and they will leave all the energy not to build their body. That's how. That's, I think, one of the reasons that we as adults sometimes we have too many things to work on,
right.
or in elementary school as well, because we didn't give the time for the kid to be kid when it is the time to be.
I get that. That like inborn structure of how a child would develop naturally, but then you suppress that by putting academics immediately.
Exactly.
Learn this, read this, write this. And
it's especially because we are pressured by the society to be always one step ahead, right?
Yeah.
So it's always a culture that we impose to kids at a very young age, right? Yeah. So we don't give them time to do what they are doing by being a kid, right? Yeah. Naturally, they move, because through that they will build the body. So
and we all see that in our own kids when they're growing up from 0 to 2. They're just constantly want to move and put me down, let me explore. Exactly. And you just let that continue naturally through here.
Exactly, up to 7 years.
Okay.
Because the curricula, it's divided in 7-year periods. So the first 7 years are what we call the golden years. So that's the kindergarten curricula for Waldorf. And from 7 to 14, it's like the second year period. And that's when we start academics. In elementary school.
Once they hit age 7.
Age 7, and they start discovering letters, actually creating all these activities so they can start exploring academics in a very natural and truthful way for them.
Can you give me an example of what that introduction to academics might look like?
Well, at the beginning, it's very, very slow because we want them to approach academics in a way that they will feel natural and not stressed by it.
Yes.
So we always say that it is through first feeling, and then they do things, and then they think things, right? So they need to feel what they will be learning first. So the introduction to letters, which will become later, like the language or the basis of the language class, it's through discovering each sound of the letter by what it is filled by, right?
Okay.
It is different how you feel the A and how you feel the S, right? The essence of each letter. So through stories, through images, which is the language that they actually can feel or can make it be alive in them. It is through that we start introducing how they can discover the A by its essence, right? It is through a story that they are introduced to that, and then they will start doing things with that letter. They will paint the letter, they will write the letter in sand, they will jump the letter. I mean, they will do whatever it is required for them to feel that letter as their own. So they discover from inside that they already have this knowledge and the magic of knowledge, right? So it is through this process of experiences, the knowledge, more than just imposing the knowledge to them.
Okay. What was it? What did you say again about you do first, then you feel, then what was the third?
Think.
Think. You do, feel, then think. That's like the natural way of...
Exactly.
Ah, that makes sense.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it's for being a Waldorf teacher, we need to study actually what is happening inside of each kid, right? And what is happening also to us, right? And how do we comprehend things? So based on that, this is how we get them. And it is not like that we provide different things to every kid, but it is through the knowledge and observation of each kid is how we provide what it is necessary for that kid. And that's why it is so important to know what to observe in a kid, right? Because if you only look at a tree and you don't know what to look about the tree, you will just say a tree, just a tree, right? But then you will have to get this observation eye very deep, and it's just like a muscle for you to start like actually observing what is going on with that stage of development, what is common in that stage, and what the kid is asking me as a teacher to be given him, and also what the role of a teacher would be, because we actually, one of the bases of the Bandu curricula since kindergarten is that we as teachers, we need to be examples for the kids, right? Because it is through imitations that they can see life, right? If we transform something in us that need to be transformed to become better, right? We can observe that also immediately in the kid.
Totally. I think about it as, even as parents, we talk about it. Like if we want our kids to follow this way, they'll follow what we do, not what we say, in your actions and how you behave and how you handle things. So, oh, that's awesome. Does now when a child would be looking to come in here, and you're sort of evaluating that family, you're evaluating the parents, the child, do you observe their personal life, their home life, and ask questions or get to know them that way to see if they're a good fit?
Yes, of course. Yes, we do ask in this interview personal things, as we want them to have like a very good picture of what a family is, right? Their values, what has been the path that the kid has been having. So we can help them as well to when they enter here. So it is important to know a little bit more about their actual life and day to day, because as I told you, based on this coherence that we want to create here in the school and in the house, in everyone's houses, it has to be rhythm, because we can see rhythm everywhere, right? And we know that the whole plan is based on rhythm. So our body is based on rhythm as well. So one thing that we always say is that kids come here and learn how to breathe, because that's the basis, like the rhythm that is the basis of our life. Through this flow of activities and rhythm, and also at home, this is how we are going to make sure that the child has the perfect environment to develop. We want to make sure that the parent is willing to get into this rhythm of life, to make it coherent for him, what is he living in the school and at home as well.
For sure, yeah. It's got to be in sync. You can't just put your kid in a Waldorf method here, but be completely like the opposite at home. And then it's just conflicting all the time.
Exactly, and we want to make that real image, give them this real image to them. So they know that here in Waldorf schools, we do not do electronics. Everything that we provide to kids, it's natural materials, and everything is given in a very thoughtful way. So we want to be conscious in every single aspect of our lives, right? Not only here in the school, but always socially as well.
It's true. Everything, I did a walkthrough, and it's all raw material, wood, cotton, you were saying, or it's just everything from earth. I didn't see one plastic thing, it's good. It's great. That's amazing. And every kid's hands was in the dirt today, picking up bugs and whatever activity, but it was good to see. Can you tell, like when a child comes maybe to enroll and they have been a product of just iPads or TV their whole life, you can see a difference, and that maybe you want to try to transition that into
Yes.
this way.
Yes.
You can see from their home life that okay, we need to kind of work with this one.
Yes, definitely. We have had some cases like that. What we are always saying to parents and also to kids that this is a process, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to put too much stress on them, but what it is naturally given is when they get in here, because we live through imitations, they are always also observing the other kids, right?
Yeah.
So because we are, as I told you, a community that really take care of what we believe in, you get in like very easily, right?
Yeah.
And so the kids that do not have that background as other kids, they start seeing that it is okay to be without, electronics, or not talk about movies here, or not talk about social media, or these kind of things that might not be, I'm not saying that they are bad, but they are not appropriate for their age. So they get along very easily, and sometimes they do have to make a lot of changes at home first.
Sure.
But then when they get here, like, it's very natural for them because it's natural for the human being.
Right.
The natural
They just
way.
thrive when they get here, right?
Yes.
Just like something comes out of them all of a sudden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the kid that was, very shy and not trying to climb trees and didn't want to get dirt on their clothes and everything. They're climbing now. In a month, you can see them climbing and throwing mud. And
doesn't that feel so good?
Yeah, it is.
It's
It
like
does.
almost like inspiring in a way.
Yes.
You're just like, I remember what he was like or she was like when they first arrived compared to now. So
And especially parents can see that.
yeah,
and
they
are
were at
like
home.
very
They're like, who is this
surprised.
kid
Yeah, I
now?
know.
Who's my child? I don't recognize them.
Yes.
I'm just curious. Would you ever deny a student? Have you ever had to do that? Like say no, you're not a fit for Waldorf?
No, we actually have had interviews, more interviews,
Okay.
to make sure that they really know what we are doing.
And that's the process where you might stop.
Exactly, and we reconsider. Sometimes families that do come here in this type of education, they feel that this is a very free school, right? So that we do not have rules or guidelines to rhythm. As I told you, everything is about rhythm.
Yeah.
So some families come here and say, okay, I want my kid to be here, but I want 1 month to be here, and then the other month we will go to Canada, and then we will be back again, and as I told you, because the curricula is very well thought, based on like everything is connected.
Yeah.
If you miss, 3 weeks or 1 month, then that whole sense of what we thought about, like sensing and doing and thinking, it will be break, right?
Totally.
And then the kid will have a gap here, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
When we want to do that, right?
It's disrupted, and you're just constantly like 2 steps forward, 1 back kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I think this is something that a lot of people think about Waldorf, that it's very open. And it is not. Actually, we really required presence for us to follow the annual rhythm, so they can be. It can be an integral development of the kid. Yeah.
Okay. So if, say, a family is moving here from Canada or the United States or Australia, anywhere,
Right.
you have some Australian
Yes,
kids?
we did last year.
How many nations do you have here?
Well, we had Australians, from England, Canada, and the U.S., I think.
That's 4 right there.
Yes.
Okay, no French.
Hungary, I think, as
Hungarian.
well. Yeah,
Okay.
Hungarian.
Okay. I know before you had Claire.
Claire,
and
yes.
Dad was from France, so
yes,
Ben,
exactly.
Ben.
Yeah.
So a parent coming in here, this branches into 2 questions I have. First, if they have not been in the Waldorf system from the beginning,
Right.
so from like Pacifico,
Right.
at a young age. So say they bring their daughter and they're 8, and you still allow them to jump into as an 8-year-old into this system, right? Like
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
and there's no, I think before, was there a language, like they had to speak Spanish?
Spanish, yes.
How is that now?
What we really try to communicate with the parents is that because this is not a bilingual school, all the curricula is provided in Spanish.
Ah,
So the language may be a barrier for them to understand what is going on, right?
Right.
Because the teacher will speak in Spanish all the time. So we know that the kids are really fast learners,
Yeah.
right? So they catch the language very easily, not as the
Not like
adults,
us.
right? So we consider important that from the beginning we do accept kids that are English speakers fully
Okay.
and do not speak Spanish. But what we require is a compromise, not only for the kid, but as a family,
Yeah.
to really be involved in language and Mexican culture as
Okay.
well. Because we're living in this country, and as you know, language is part of the country itself and the culture as
it's
well.
like everything. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is very important that they really understand that it's not only speaking a language, but also trying to understand the country they are living
Yep.
and the nature that is around. As I told you, the nature and the surroundings are really important part of our curricula. And we observe not only the rhythms of ourselves, but also the rhythms of the nature.
Yeah.
And this is how the annual rhythm comes around, right? We celebrate special festivities based on the rhythm of the seasons that are coming, right?
Gotcha.
Even though it's very different from Canada, we don't have seasons as in Canada or US.
You have just not the
Just
same.
not the way,
same
the way that you
temperature.
have it, yeah, not in a very. I mean, this is autumn, and you can see all the trees,
Right.
all
Full
green
bloom
and raining. So we do align our curriculum to what the kids are actually living in the nature, right?
Okay.
So we want to make sure that they are really involved in these surroundings and also in language.
Right. Right.
Right.
Okay, so you would accept them if they don't speak, but it's up to them to know that it will be full immersion, full Spanish immersion
Yeah,
for them.
exactly.
And have you seen an example of that? Like a child come in that has no Spanish and like just picked it up really quick?
Yes,
It
yes,
happens
yes.
all-
We have too many examples.
Too
of
many
them.
examples?
Yes,
All of
because,
them?
Yes.
Okay.
Because especially kids that have been exposure as well to this kind of environment where they are free to move.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
especially kids when they are very attached to academics. They put all the energy in that, as I told you, and sometimes they do not have these brain connections necessary to learn the language faster. Right? So kids that have been having all this freedom to move and to connect with nature and to connect to exploring things and their senses in their place, then it's easy for them to catch the language very easy and fast
For
as
sure.
well.
For sure.